Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesdays with Nina. I finally figured out how to have on the screen at the same time the picture that you're seeing and the actual letter. So I no longer have to paraphrase the letter that people are writing to me. So here's the letter. Hi, I'm a 31-year-old woman, and my question is, when in life do women hit their sexual peak? I've heard late 20s, early 30s, and 40s. I feel this is important to know because I feel like, and I felt like for a couple of years, that I am in my sexual peak. Also, how long does this peak last? Is it different for every woman? When does the peak stop? Menopause? I know I'm more aware of my body than I was 10 years ago, and so age has improved my sex life. Thanks so much for doing your vlog. I love it, and I love you. And her name is, she didn't leave a name. She just left a smiley face. So thank you, young woman, for writing. So the first question. Technically, for the longest time, people the saying was that women hit their peak in their late 30s to mid 40s. You know, when they finally are established in life and they've let go of some of their youthful insecurities about sex and sexuality, and they're really peaking in the hormone department, and they're fully mature. And then some women remember in their 20s they were doing it like bunnies, and by the time they hit 35, man, they ran out. So every woman is different. I know. What an answer to the question. I would say it's at 42 and a half. There you go. That's when the peak is, and you've missed it. Oh well. There are different peaks in our lives. There is the hot hormonal peaking of the late teens through the 20s, where you're just, when Mother Nature really wants you to breed, and your interest is high, and your responsibilities are low. But as you get older, while the hormones may calm down a bit, what does change is your mental peak. So as we get older, hopefully our life experiences have taught us to relax about certain things, to stop beating ourselves up so much, to have more realistic expectations of a sexual encounter, more realistic expectations of our partners, more awareness of our own bodies, our own sexual processes. So while my physical peak, in terms of how easily I could have an orgasm or how much I needed it all the time, may have been younger, my mental peak I hit in my 40s when I found my husband now, and it's continuing into my 50s in terms of the interest I have in sex, the understanding and awareness I have of sex, the desire for sex. Now, as I'm older, my physical, and everyone's different. You're talking about how long does the peak last? For me, mentally, the peak is not showing any signs of slowing down in terms of my mental and emotional interest in sexual matters. But in terms of my genitals being horny all the time, that passed a while ago. I don't walk around often thinking, golly gosh, I really need to get boned. That being said, I know plenty of women my age in their 30s and in their 40s and 50s who are also genitally horny, as in their clits are going, feed me now, I need dinner, get me something. I've rarely been that person. So what kind of peak are you talking about? Certainly in terms of our emotional peaking, insight and comfort come with age and experience. Again, so we understand that we no longer need to be perfect in order to catch a man, that we can say yes and no to things that we want. We can initiate sex when we want. I think when women are young, in their teens and 20s, often the sex is the sex that he wants, or the sex that we're taught we're supposed to want, or it is in the category of sex we're supposed to want, relationship sex, or I love you sex, those kinds of things. So as we get older and more experienced, we realize, okay, there's our social training and what we're taught to think and believe and want about sex, or want from sex. And then as we get older and shift it out, have a few relationships, what do I actually want, believe, and know about sex and sexuality and sexual expression? How do I want to conduct my sexual life for me and on my own terms? And that peak definitely comes later for most women than their 20s, certainly into their 30s. It is different for every woman. What things that affect her peak are her basic libido, how high a sex drive does she have? Everybody has a different sex drive, everything else being equal. Some people are like, once a day, that barely is enough. Other people, once a week, twice a month, pretty okay with that. So it is different. So our physical horniness is different for every woman. And then of course, our mental and emotional attitudes about sex. What is it for? Why should we have it? When is it okay? When is it not okay? So some people's belief system, sex has to go in a smaller box, and for other people's belief system, sex can be in a bigger box. So you have your libido, you have your attitudes about sex, and then there is your own experiences with it. What do you want out of it? Some people who are super duper horny but a relationship burned masturbate more because they would rather masturbate to relieve the horniness than enter into another stupid relationship. Do you even have to have sex within a relationship? For some women, it's very important that sex go along with romance and connection and commitment. And for other women, like such as myself, friendship is good enough. Friendship that I'm not going to end up killed or dead or something is enough. So that's a different peak. It takes different women different lengths of time to throw off or grow through their conditioning around sexuality to find out what is my actual belief system regarding sexuality versus what my mother taught me to believe or anything else in the culture teaches us to believe. The peak definitely does not stop at menopause, although for some women it does. Some women, I hear this all the time actually, when they hit menopause, their libido really does fall through the floor. They don't care anymore about it. They don't have a sex drive. Mentally, they're not so into it. This causes lots of problems in long-term marriages because most men, generally speaking, enjoy sex and sexual activity throughout their lifespan, and it can be a real heartbreak and a head-scratcher, if not a problem, when their heretofore willing partner just realizes, you know what? I don't care about this anymore, and that's another discussion. I'm approaching menopause, but I'm not yet through it, but my interest in sex is not diminishing. Also, the quality of the relationship. If we're partnered with a person that we have a good relationship with, we're likely going to want to remain intimate with this person and be sexually attracted to them and have them be sexually attracted to us and try new things and just keep that going. If relationships are hitting the rocks, libido is often the first to go. I don't want him to even touch me. Oh my God, get away. That's another factor. Definitely, you're more aware of your body than you were 10 years ago. That so much improves the experience of sex and sexuality. We can't underestimate that at all, how important it is that we feel comfortable in our skins. Because speaking not as a man, but when I've been with men, and one of the things that they really appreciate more than how big your boobs are, are you blonde, are you shaved or not shaved, it's our comfort with our bodies, therefore our comfort in bed, therefore our comfort with them. The more comfortable I am in my body, the more I can welcome my partner into my bed, and he can relax, and he can have a good time, rather than having to be lover and psychoanalyst at the same time. And men are not trained to be psychoanalysts while being lovers at the same time. So the more sane or the more healthy and integrated we get within our own sexuality, and certainly our bodies, the better our experience is going to be of sex, because we're better at picking compatible partners and we're more relaxed, which gets a better response from him. It flows more easily. You feel less awkward, you feel less stupid, and it goes on from there. So to answer your question, the peak lasts different for different women. The peak stops different for different women, but sometimes after menopause you do need hormonal supplements to keep pain from intercourse from happening, because there is vaginal thinning and dryness. And definitely knowing your body helps your sex life. Anyway, you can tell I can go on and on about this. I'm Nina Hartley, and please send your questions to tuesdayswithnina@gmail.com, and the lovely Miss Victoria will send them on to me. I will see you next week, and until then, have a good one.